Well, good morning. Honest to goodness, it's awfully good to see you this morning. I got a call this morning from my old friend Al Bussin. He called the house about 7:05, and I was just bleary-eyed, leaned over, and he said to me, "You really look good this morning. Try that. Try that on somebody on the phone." Because I immediately pulled the covers up. I thought, "How can you see? You really look good this morning." I didn't. I got a bunch of stuff today. I'd like to try this thing today, Frank. Could we take a poll later today? Do you know how to do it? They put all this expensive state-of-the-art equipment in here, which enables us to take a telephone poll. A telephone poll. Oh my God. Anyway, we'll try, not this hour, but we'll try. Frank's scrambling to get his. Be careful, Frank. If we tell him we're going to do it and then we don't do it, then Osborne will make a federal case out of it. We'll run 300 announcements on why we didn't do it. And be very careful. We may do a telephone poll today, and we may not. Oh, you got to be so careful, right, Colin? Now, I got a bunch of mail that I wanted to get through today. Here's the first one. Been saving these up. It says, "Dear Mr. Carney, as I said, we've lived in St. Louis all our lives. My grandfather was in the dog kennel business, and he said he had some of the first dog kennels out in the county. And in those years, it says, dog kennels were rented on a 20-year leash." Same guy goes on to say, "My mother and dad were married in an airplane in 1929 flying over St. Louis. I think it was a first. They told me later it was the first in St. Louis, the first double wing ceremony." That's awful. I got a postcard here. It says, "Thought I would send you the first musical score on record. It's Beethoven 8, Bach 4. Oh, here's one. It says, "There's a special downtown on men's leather belts, 99 cents. That's just under a buckle." I've got a note here from South St. Louis. As my grandfather started working for Anheuser-Busch almost 100 years ago, they used to read the big beer recipes as they made the beer down there. It says the first recipes were written as blueprints. Oh, my. There's a note here that says, "Dear Mr. Carney, our family has been in the cattle business for many years out toward House Springs. We haven't had one time had a huge ranch out there when it was Indian country." It says, "I remember back in 1920 when the branding iron was invented. It says the cattle were really impressed." I'm going to give this up and get a profession. This is it. And finally, Frank comes in from Charlie on the bridge. He says, "Charlie came in this morning. You won't believe what he told me. He passed the Lone Ranger's house and he heard him singing." I said, "You're kidding." He said, "No, the Lone Ranger was taking out his trash and you'd never guess what he was singing." And I, like a fool, said, "What was he singing, Frank?" Frank said, "The Lone Ranger was taking out his trash and he was singing to the dump, to the dump, to the dump, 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 dump." Oh, Johnny Carson has a whole staff of writers. I got Frank and Colin checking the restrooms at the bus terminal. It all comes out about the same, right, guys? You think we could do this later, this poll? I thought we'd try a presidential poll. You know, just for the fun of it. Nice weather out there today. I put on a sweater, everything, came downstairs and found out it's going to be up to 80. It's going to be very warm today. Off comes the sweater. What else? Well, I guess the 2 playoff games probably went about the way you expected them. What about those Cubbies? They're absolutely crazy. What's the name of the new baseball commissioner? Debrecht. Peter Ubrecht. I don't know if you caught it, but I listened to both games yesterday on KMOX. And the first game, the Cub games, the guy in the announcer said, "And now here's Mr. Ubrecht, the new commissioner of baseball." This was played in Chicago, and he said nothing. You know, they talked to him for a minute. Then I'm listening to the game from Kansas City, and I hear the guy saying, "And up here in the booth with us is Commissioner Ubrecht." So he must have flown right from, what? It isn't Uberoff, it's Ubrecht. Uberoff? Off? Uberoff. Pete Uberoff. Did I say Uberoff? Whatever. He evidently flew right from Chicago to Kansas City and saw both games. My immediate question was, how do you get a job like that? You know, those Cubs, 13-0. Of course, there was a time there, I think, when they just figured that's the end of this one, you know, and they didn't really try to come back or anything, but still 13 to nothing. That's because playing in the daytime is healthier. I had some notes on that Cub game. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Where would you go? Where did you go? I had it right here. Somebody's cleaned out my office. Now, I had a thing up until yesterday on the Cub game. It was right here on top. Gone. Get it. Oh, that was something I wanted to do yesterday. No, I don't know where it is. Anyway, it was kind of interest. It had to do. Can you hear me? It had to do with the Cubs, and I was gonna. Well, obviously it isn't here. We'll do something else. We're gonna try that telephone poll a little bit later, which I think will be kind of interesting. When we were out at Westport, Colin did some recording out there of the Colin recorded all the broadcasts, but we saved some things with that wonderful musical aggregation we had out there, and I thought you might like to hear one of those this morning. Well, we had John Becker on banjo, Eddie Samuels on piano, and the Eddie Samuels trio. Who else did we have? Pappy Ray on fiddle, Chuck Hedges on clarinet, and that was the lady, and the Eddie Samuels trio, and the lady is a tramp. It's just as it was performed as live as you can get those old codgers out at the Westport Theater when we were there a few weeks ago. I get too hungry for dinner. The Thrift Corporation is a firm that has been in the home building business in the St. Louis area since 1923. The main thrust of their business is to sit down and design the home that you'd like to build and then build it for you on your lot. If you don't have a lot, they help you find one and arrange the purchase thereof. They can do it all. They can do as much or as little as you want them to. They can complete the home. They can leave a lot of the interior work for you to do and save money. They are extremely flexible. They can take a basic floor plan and they can change it to your particular specifications. They're called the Thrift Corporation, and the homes that they build are called heritage homes, which I know you've seen if you've been to the home show, because for the past few years, the homes at the home show were always heritage homes built by the Thrift Corporation. Now, they have 2 offices, and incidentally, they are mightily concerned with the cost of heating and cooling and so on. And any home built by the Thrift Corporation today has state-of-the-art provisions in it for insulation and for saving the cost of heating and cooling. The Thrift Corporation, builders of heritage homes at 1700 North Lindbergh, just south of Page. That's one office. And the second office on Gravois, just east of Highway 270. The number, if you'd like a packet of information and some examples of what they do, 997-4242. But I've talked to a number of people who have gone to the Thrift Corporation and discovered that dollar for dollar they could get a whole lot more home. They have a factory where they do a lot of the heavy roof spans and so on. They build those indoors and transport them to the job, giving you a more consistent job and a better job at less money. And they're not at the, you don't have to worry about the weather and the elements and like that. Thrift Corporation, for information, 997-4242.
Coming soon to the fabulous Fox Theater, that master of make-believe, Doug Henning, and his wondrous magic show with performances at 8 p.m. Tuesday, October 16th through Friday, October 19th. Or catch Doug's marvelous magic at 2 and 7:30 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, October 20th and 21st. Don't miss it. And on now, another magic show that's a must-see at your Metro Chrysler Plymouth dealers. This one stars Plymouth Voyager, the magic wagon. Voyager, America's most versatile front-wheel drive wagon. Seating for 2, 5, up to 7 people with optional third seat, yet capable of delivering 40% more cargo capacity than a big wagon that's 3 feet longer. And with front-wheel drive and rack and pinion steering, Voyager parks and handles as easily as a car. All this plus fabulous 550 protection. These limited warranties cover powertrain and outer body rust-through for 5 years or 50,000 miles, whichever comes first. A deductible applies and lease cars are excluded. Ask for details. Plymouth Voyager. You've got to drive it to believe it. At your St. Louis Metro Chrysler Plymouth dealers now.
The note, Katie found it, is from Richard Kalin of St. John, Missouri. The note that I was looking for about the Cubs. It was in the Reporter on September 25th. Carl DeMaria wrote this. He says, the perennial underdogs have risen from the ashes and finally given Chicago something to cheer about in baseball. Consider what has happened since the Cubs last won the pennant. When was that, Frank? That's right, 1945. Since the last time the Cubs had a pennant, we've had 7 U.S. presidents. We've fought in 2 wars. MacArthur has faded away. We have been to the moon and back. Television came into its own. DuckTales, Elvis Presley, Sock Hops, the Beatles, and Jack Carney's hair has all come and gone. I'll get you, Carl, if it's the last thing I do. Consider what has happened since the Cubs last won a world championship in 1908. On second thought, he says, don't even worry about that. But you can readily see why, since the Cardinals aren't in the race, you could find it in your heart to root for our National League East brothers from the north side of Chicago, the Cubs. There's Hack Wilson and Ron Santo and Ernie Banks. There's Billy Williams and Charlie Gehringer and even Leo DeRocher. They couldn't get the job done at Wrigley Field. But Leon Durham and Ron Say and Rick Sutcliffe and Lee Smith and Jim Fry have gotten it done in 1984. Wouldn't you think somebody would give them a break with all the problems they've had in the past? No way. Even the commissioner, in his infinite wisdom, has decided that in order to play baseball in Chicago, he would penalize the Cubs by taking away their 4-game home field advantage. By the way, this lets Major League Baseball keep the $700,000 per team in TV revenue. What a joke this is. It was the last straw, but the Cubs will show them because succeeding is the best revenge. You're right about that, Carl. Don't get mad. Get even. That's out of the Fluorescent Reporter, and I wanted to pass that along to you because the Cubs' second love in my heart is the Cubs. When I was a kid, I was a Yankee fan for a long time. Then I became a Cardinal fan, but always lurking somewhere was the specter of the Chicago Cubs. Why? Because my father was a Cubs. My father, he thought the Cubs, he could go to a Cubs game. They didn't even show up. He just sat there. He didn't care. As long as he was at Wrigley Field, you could get a beer. That was enough already. But I've always been in my heart of hearts. What was it? Who said it first? The Goldwater. In your heart, you know the Cubs are right. Well, they went crazy yesterday, 13-0. It's a shame you can't average out like you do in your income tax, Well, we'll take 3 runs for yesterday. We'll take the other 10, and you will take 4 of them today and 6 tomorrow. But they don't let you do that. You'll hear all the playoff games, all the excitement here on KMOX Radio, of course. I get too hungry. I'd like to thank Betty, M-A-U-T-E, William and Betty, M-A-U-T-E, and I'd like to thank John Anello and Pat Schroeder and the Ted Smith Realtors, and I'd like to thank Marie and Wallace Wright and James and Susan King and John and Margaret Donegan and Jack Manley, and I'd like to thank Jerome and Grace Hellein, H-E-L-E-I-N, and I'd like to thank Eleanor Gibson and the new Delmonico Cafe. Do you know where that is? I got to check that out. The new Delmonico Cafe. And I'd like to thank Joanne Kruger and Francis Paulman and Gary and Susan Pegg and General Fire Protection and Paul and Clara Hafner and Daniel and Deborah Schopp, S-C-H-O-P-P, and Joseph and Helen Gremmelsbacher and Florence Moline and Catherine Dunsworth and Maurice B. Graham. Would you be interested in knowing why I'd like to thank those people? Because they all sent checks to benefit the Nason family. Mrs. Nason was with us on the program the other day. Listeners to our program made it possible for the Nasons to adopt a Korean child who had physical disabilities. Now there are 2 more children the Nasons are trying to get up in, is it Washington or Oregon? Sisters, Oregon. And I stuck my big neck out and said that we would arrange to help we would get these other 2. We need about, what, $3,000? Yeah, okay, we'll get it. So far, we've got over $400, which is a goodly part of the way. The Nasons were featured on 60 Minutes. That's how we met Mr. and Mrs. Nason, and we've had them on the phone here. They now have 40 adopted children. They are not foster children. Every child, they are black, they are yellow, they are red. The children are every color of the rainbow. The children become Nasons. They are adopted by the Nasons. They become, if you can imagine dinner for 40 children, they become a member of this intimate family group. They learn to care for each other, and they are absolutely drenched in love from their parents, who are just the most wonderful people. He just retired from the post office to devote full time to this family. They get no money from the government at all. Their neighbors help out. We help out. Personally, we send a little check every once in a while to the Nason family because they are just doing something very wonderful. They love children, and they adopt children that no one else will take. They take children with muscular dystrophy, and they take children who are crippled, and they take children and one child they've been unable to cope with and had to go back. But they have 40 children in their family. It's just an unbelievable story. Jody said to me that we must go one day, and I think we will. I think we'll fly Air One out to Los Angeles or San Francisco or whatever, and then grab a plane and go up and spend a couple days. They've invited us up. I would like to see the Nason farm. We call it the United Nations, but we need $3,000 to get these 2 I promised her that we will pay it, and we'll pay it. You'll help, and you'll do what you can, and if we don't raise the whole $3,000, it'll be taken care of. I'll get it. If I have to sell my book, I'll sell something. Colin, we'll sell Colin. Anyway, if you'd like to help the Nason family and help us with this latest project, get these 2 additional Nasons, you can make your check. Now, here's what, when I talked to Mrs. Nason, I said, it would help some of our listeners when they send $10 or $20 or $30 if it could be tax deductible. And she said, there is a very nice church there that has tax deductible status that will accept the contribution for them and give it to them. The idea is to make out the check to the church and not put the Nason's name on the check. Just make the check out to Virtue, Virtue Ministries, and that is 100% tax deductible. I had the address for Virtue Ministries, but I can't thank you if I don't know if it goes direct. So I'd rather you sent the check to me and let me send it on to the Nasons. Make the check payable to Virtue Ministries, okay? And next week, we will call the Nasons and see how things are going there. And I will tell them, give them our accounting to date. I would hope by next week we're better than halfway. So far, we're at $400. Was it $3,000? Wait a minute, because I made a note here. I'm not real good about keeping track of stuff here, but I wrote this down. Dennis and Diane Nason in Sisters, Oregon. Okay. Jessica and Mary are the new children, the 2 new children, and it is $3,600 that we need. Okay. So if you could send us $10 or $20 or $100, or if the program has done something nice for you in the past and you'd like to reciprocate, could I suggest that this is a good time to reciprocate? Money will be gratefully accepted from our sponsors, from our friends, even our enemies. Hey, listen, just send the check to me so that we can tabulate here and send it on from here and make it payable to Virtue, Virtue Ministries, and know that every penny goes to the Nasons. They told me the most interesting thing, not being a farm person, I was kind of amazed at this. They have their own little dairy. One of their sons runs a dairy down the road, and they get all their milk from their own dairy for the kids. And she said, you probably know this, but I know that one cow provides the milk for 40 children. Did you know that, Colin? She told us how many gallons a cow gives and everything. I figured you'd need a cow a kid, that a cow gave you 2-3 glasses of milk a day. I didn't know. One cow provides enough milk for 40 children. Isn't that amazing? Well, anyway, appreciate anything you can do to help us there. I don't like to keep asking for help all the time. And I'll tell you something, quite honestly, a lot of times we come across little things here that need to be taken care of, and I didn't even tell you about them because you got enough to worry about. And I'll pick up the phone and I'll call somebody I know, a sponsor or something, and I'll say, hey, listen, I could use $100 or whatever, and they put it in the mail to me, and we don't put it on the air. I don't want to keep reminding you of everybody that needs money. Look, I need money. Keep that foremost in your mind. You can just remember that. I got a note from Mrs. James Bennett, who lives in DeSoto, Missouri. This is the second time in my 71 years that I have written to a public personage, she says. The first time was in 1960 when I wrote to Senator Bush of Texas. He is now Vice President Bush. Is he from Texas? Yeah. Why did I forget that? Now I'm writing to you, Mr. Carney. Oh, I wonder if this is any promise of things to come. Vice President Carney. Writing to you, Mr. Carney, because on your Friday program, August 28th, you said you had some delicious gazpacho soup, and I'm sending you a recipe I know you will like. You have a food processor. It's piece cake. Let's see. The beauty of this particular gazpacho is that any leftovers stay firm and delicious for at least 10 days, just kept covered in the refrigerator. Also adjust the seasoning. If you like gazpacho, you'll love this recipe. Bon appetit. I enjoy your program. Listen every day. Her name is Gail Bennett. It's a beautiful handwriting. I wish I had a handwriting like that. And she sends me her recipe. Miss Bennett, I am writing a cookbook. Yes, I am. I finally got around to it. And if your gazpacho is as good as you say, it'll go in the book. Now, she calls for, I'm not going to read you this whole recipe. She starts with a big can of tomato juice and a small can of V8 and a cup of peeled, seeded, chopped fresh tomatoes And she has green peppers, celery, cucumber, chopped onion, crushed garlic, tarragon vinegar, a little olive oil, some salt, some sugar, and a half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. It must be 4 hours from you. Serves 8 to 10. I wonder, she says, if you have something about a food blender here. Closed as a recipe. My practice is to put, oh, I see. Oh, I left out some here. Lemon or lime juice, a little Tabasco sauce, a little dill, a little parsley. This sounds very good. We had some the other night. Stu S. Rock's mother makes a gazpacho, and she sent us some. Out of this world. Absolutely delicious. Gave some to Tom Tenholder. Not what you call the world's greatest gourmet appreciator. And he really liked it. He says, you know what I like about this? I feel very healthy eating it because it's all a crispy, crunchy bit. Gazpacho, in case you haven't tried it, is a cold soup. This recipe for gazpacho from Miss Bennett does not have one thing in it, however. See, the first time I tasted gazpacho was the first time I was in Spain, and subsequently in visits to Spain, particularly staying at the Paradors, which are the lovely government-operated hotel accommodations in Spain. Gazpacho is served continually. It is a cold soup, a tomato-based cold soup, but it also has a base of beef. There is a light beef taste in the basic soup, and I don't see that in Miss Bennett's. Hers is totally a vegetarian or a vegetable gazpacho. You are served your kind of reddish-brown, ice-cold, thickish broth, okay, not thick, it's broth-like, at the table normally in Spain, and then comes a little lazy Susan with chopped green pepper, chopped onion, chopped celery, pimentos and whatnot, and you spoon that into your soup, which are really eating or drinking is a wet salad. That's what it amounts to. This is a very good, it appears to be a very good recipe. I'm going to test it out and just go into the old cookbook. I'll be writing a cookbook like Harry Fender's writing Story of His Life. It'll take me 25 years to get it together. Mark I Auto Service Center is a full-service automotive repair facility. They use state-of-the-art sun diagnostic equipment to analyze any engine problems you have. Mark I Auto Service Centers are convenient, they're fast, and, well, I've recommended Mark I to a number of people and never been disappointed. Number one, if you go to the dealer, and let's face it, I'm not knocking the dealer at all, but he's paying the people in his shop $35, $40, $42 an hour, whatever it is. He's not paying it, you are. That's number one. Number two, in the dealerships, they have a book that tells them exactly how much time should be required for each job and consequently what it costs, and that's what you're charged. Now, that's common practice. It's done all the time. What it means is that if a job takes 2 hours in the book and the man works on your car and it takes him 1 hour and 40 minutes, you're still billed for the 2 hours. I once asked about the wisdom of a policy like that, and I was told that it evens out, that it might take 1 hour and 40 minutes for your 2-hour job this time, but next time it might take 2 hours and 40 minutes, and you'd still pay just the book price, just the 2 hours. Well, be that as it may, they do not charge book prices at Mark I, but rather only for the time that's used in a job, and we feel that's a big saving. Their people are all certified. They really know their business. And when I tell you that they do it right the first time at Mark I mean exactly what I'm saying. They've done a lot of work for us, unusual work. They fixed the electric brakes on a horse trailer for me. They fixed the air conditioning compressor on a General Motors product. So you can't really stump them. The only thing they don't do at Mark I is they don't do front-end work and they don't do tire work. They used to just do tune-ups, and they still do great tune-up work, but they do all other mechanical work as well. Mark I Auto Service Centers, 4 locations. To make an appointment, call 968-0983. Gary Lowry is the president. Mark I, 968-0983.
The two most important days in October are the 3rd and 4th, the dates for the 3rd Annual St. Louis Computer and Accessory Show at Cervantes Convention Center. Free seminars will be offered in the vital areas of networking, DBase2 databases, Lotus spreadsheets, and integrated software packages. Major hardware and software, plus the newest and most versatile telecommunications equipment, including cellular phone systems, will be displayed and demonstrated. Solvent Systems Incorporated will furnish an AT&T PC as a free registration prize, no purchase necessary to qualify. You have 2 days only to visit the experts, find the solutions, and shop the market for office automation equipment to give you the most modern and efficient operation available. The exhibitor list reads from A to Z and showcases the ABCs of the high-tech world. Hours are noon to 9 p.m. each day. The Product and Solution Show, the third annual St. Louis Computer and Accessory Show, 2 days only, October 3rd and 4th at Cervantes Convention Center, noon to 9 p.m. each day. Register free to win an AT&T PC. A nominal admission will be charged, and other outstanding class production.
No entrance fee required for sweepstakes. Free entry blanks available in lobby.
Doug Henning opens at the Fox 2 weeks from yesterday. He is the greatest magician of modern times. He has always come on the program with us when he was in town. I have no reason to think that he won't be on the program with us while he's here in town, too, and perhaps make Colin disappear again. You remember that, Colin? He was here, came and made Colin disappear. It was a full month before we found Colin. We found him in a tavern in Peoria. Isn't that weird? He was using the name Marlene Pulaski. I'll never understand how he made you disappear and sent you to Peoria like that, Colin. We had a heck of a time getting Colin back. He liked it there, didn't he? He'd been gone just a month. And I think Claire had noticed by then, didn't she? At the end of a month, she said, "Have you seen Colin?" I said, "No." She said, "I don't think I have either." It's nice to know, Colin, that you fool around with a magician. I think you called him a name. That's why I sent you to Peoria. Doug Henning is a neat guy. This is an exciting show. And we will see you at the Fabulous Fox for the Doug Henning Show. It's the week of the 16th. Tickets start at $4.90. And if you enjoy magicians, or if you just enjoy watching your youngsters' eyes get about as big as Model A hubcaps, this is the place to go. The Fox Theater, the week of October 16th, to see Doug Henning. Clara has made me promise not to let Colin go this time because people have called from Peoria. They don't want any more of you, Colin. That's it. For ticket information, call 534-1111. 534-1111. That's Doug Henning coming into the Fabulous Fox in just a little less than 2 weeks. But I'd arranged tickets right away because last time he was in town, every single seat was sold out. He got me involved in transcendental meditation last time. I went out and spent $200 and took the course. I didn't think it was all that good for me. I've told you about this St. Louis Gourmet newsletter. Ron Price, Preuss, is an attorney here in town, and he writes this newsletter. And I think he's great. He's well, we've got our own food editor here on the show, John Garganigo. I've never met Ron Price. He doesn't let anybody know what he looks like, and he sneaks in and out of restaurants and really does a good job on them. And he's not a vicious reviewer. I don't like that. John isn't like that. He's a constructive reviewer, and I think John shares my philosophy that there are times when you go into a restaurant with the idea of reviewing it, and it's very poor indeed, and the thing to do is just forget about it. They got enough problems without your creating more for them. But anyway, the current issue of the St. Louis Gourmet newsletter is his annual travel issue, and Ron has gone to Paris. And he says you can dine marvelously in the city of light within a mile or two. The average Parisian can eat superbly without leaving his neighborhood. Then he goes on to review restaurants now, some of these are great old Parisian restaurants. Frankly, only one or two names are even familiar to me. One is Allard on the Rue Saint-André-des-Arts. The Allard, he does not give a tremendous rating to. Au Pactole, not too thrilled with that one. Pied de Cochon. Lipp, L-I-P-P. Pharamond. A couple of these are very old, and Pharamond has Norman-type food. But the last one is the one that caught my attention. He just gave it 3 stars all the way across. This is the restaurant where I had reservations for Jody and my mother and myself the day that we arrived in Paris when we drove up from Switzerland. We had been in Venice. We drove over to Switzerland, spent a few days there, and then took our little rented car and chugged into Paris. Had reservations to have dinner at the Tour d'Argent. That means the Tower of Silver. I told my mother and Jody that this would be a real experience because it's a fine restaurant. Mother fell that late that afternoon, was rushed. We rushed her to the hospital and obviously never got to Tour d'Argent. Here's his review on the tour, TOURD-ARGENT. He says, quote, "We were skeptical about the Tour d'Argent, about 3-star restaurants in general. On this, a bistro and small restaurant trip, I wanted fewer grand experiences, and I thought that the elaborate nature of even the good three-star restaurants would be disappointing. I was wrong. Tour d'Argent, despite many flaws and some unnerving experiences, is one of the world's premier kitchens. Can this kitchen cook? And while we've serious reservations about the utility of wine lists as enormous as the one here, an oversupply of expensive and good wines is something you can live with. Too much of a fuss is made about the wine list. They have 120,000 bottles. That's 10,000 cases of wine. Wow. Most are beyond any reasonable expenditure, unless you're a fanatic, and drinkable wines at a reasonable price amount to a handful. Usually the sommelier points the patron in the right direction. A 1977 Chambol Musigny at 280 francs, or the house wine, a Tour de Baie, which is an ordinary wine, were really priced in the medium range. Let's see. Let's skip about the wines. The decor is exquisite, as it's always been. It's enjoyable to visit the little cooking museum on the ground level. The menu has been streamlined. The number of ducks has been cut from 28 to 6. Most of the rest of the menu has been edited. The food is incomparable. Of the ducks, perhaps the least interesting is the press duck, which relies on fashionability. The sauce, made from the rare duck blood, is very rich, but more notable for its dramatic preparation. Better choices are the Marco Polo with 4 peppercorns. One's choice is, however, a matter of taste, because these are all great roast ducks. Did you know that the ducks, by the way, at the Tour d'Argent are numbered? They come with a little thing. They have numbered them for many years. I guess they're up to 50,000 ducks. There are other great dishes. There is a lamb dish and a sole dish, a sole cardinal. The lamb is perfectly cooked little fillets of lamb topped with a bechamel sauce and pastry in a vegetable sauce. The sole cardinal would be a parody if it weren't perfect, because it is so elaborate. The duck and wild mushroom salad is another miracle. The soufflé potatoes are perfect and accompany most entrees. There is confusion over the menu. The Tour d'Argent is a Paris institution and a tourist haven, strong on history, with a museum downstairs, etc., etc. You can order the old dishes if you want them in advance. The problem here is a mix of wealthy tourists who have no taste and locals who come not for the great food, but to be fashionable. Nonetheless, if you can handle this and a somewhat jarring clientele, the brilliant kitchen is worth all the fuss. The Tour d'Argent. Let's see. A meal or two with a moderately priced wine will run about 1,000 francs. Reservations are mandatory. Why doesn't he tell you how much the franc is today, and you'd know what he's talking about? How much is 1,000 francs? I don't know either. I know the pound is like $1.25. But anyway, that's the Tour d'Argent. He reviews several others that I wasn't too familiar with. An old restaurant that I've been to called Lipp, L-I-P-P, and several others. The St. Louis Gourmet Newsletter. I'd suggest subscribing to this. Somebody will call with the price of the franc. Here, 436-7900. St. Louis Gourmet Newsletter. I would suggest, it says here it costs $8 a year or $12 for 2 years. And to subscribe, let's see, does it tell you how to do this? Subscriptions are offered on a calendar year basis for regular issues. I think you could send them a check made out to the St. Louis Gourmet. Okay, St. Louis Gourmet Newsletter. And you could write to Ronald Preuss, Preuss. The publisher is Cassandra Enterprises at 222 South Merrimack, Suite 300, zip 105. Does that somebody know what the franc is? No? Come on, don't tell me our listeners don't know how much the French franc is worth. Don't call and tell me 2 pairs of nylons and 4 Hershey bars. I don't need that. 436-7900 if you know the price of the franc. Punch me up here. Hello?
I think we just got disconnected.
Hello, we're not disconnected. What may I do for you?
I would like to know if you know when the wine festival is in Herman, Missouri this year.
In October. That's why it's called the Oktoberfest. Hello?
Yes, the franc is 9 francs to the dollar.
9 francs to a dollar.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Lady call, I presume. Is that right? Oh, they hung up all right. Is that right? 9 to a dollar? Hello, I think. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
I need to know. I'd like to know if you know when the wine festival is in Herman.
I just told you it's in October, but I don't know when.
I didn't
And
say
we're talking about the French franc, though. I really don't want to get sidetracked, and we didn't get disconnected. I hung up on you. If it's 9 to a dollar and it costs 1,000 francs, well, if it was 10 to a dollar, that can't be right. No, that can't be right. That would mean $120 a person. A meal or two with a moderately priced wine will run about 1,000 francs, $120. Maybe that is right. If it's, I guess so. Anybody else on the phone? They're all called. Is it 9 to a dollar?
Yes, according to this morning's paper now, Jack, the U.S. equivalent, Tuesday it says .1082, and Tuesday is 1069. .1069.
1069. So that's about 9 to a dollar. The lady was right.
Yeah, and then the other one, the currency per U.S. is 9.24 Monday or Tuesday, and then Monday was 9.350.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's right. So he says a meal or two. That's kind of vague. A meal or two costs with a fair bottle of wine costs $120. Two people in a bottle of wine, $120 for one of the top restaurants in Paris. I would say that probably is about right. $120. Yeah. I'm not sure when they keep telling you that the price of that the dollar gets stronger and that you can buy more for it. I'm not so sure that they don't adjust prices at the other end, particularly where they deal with a lot of tourist money. You say, oh boy, the dollar's worth more and more all the time. I think they just adjust it at the other end. I don't think it always helps you all that much when you go overseas. Hello, did you want something?
Yeah, I need to ask Jack something about Richard Kleiderman.
Oh, yeah. Well, hold on, please. Hello. Do you have something? I'm not going to answer any question. Hello?
Hello,
Hi.
Jack Carney.
Yeah, you want? Well, yes, ma'am.
Listen, Jack, I listen to you every morning, and you said something about that your mother fell,
A long time ago, dear. Last year she fell.
and then she broke her hip.
Yeah, the second time she fell, she broke her hip. But
You know, Jack, but I was going to say my sister fell 4 times, and she didn't know what it was, and the doctor said she needed calcium.
yeah, well, Mother's on calcium now.
Huh?
Mother is on calcium now.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Well, my sister wasn't. And here she got an awful cold in
What?
June, and she died.
Wait a minute, dear. Let me tell you something. How old are you?
I'm 86 years old.
You should be taking calcium.
But the doctor said that I don't need it.
Every woman over the age of 30 should be at least be getting milk in her diet or taking some calcium, according to my mother's doctor. Because
I take milk, but see, I can't take milk because I get too much gas.
well, oh well.
But
Okay. Well, I'm sorry you lost your sister. I gotta go because we're running out of time, and you thought there was a gas shortage. We're going back.
Let's set the record straight on St. Louis Children's Hospital.
Children's Hospital is totally dedicated to providing medical and surgical care for infants, children, and adolescents.
Other hospitals may treat children, but the children are not their only patients. These children may not receive the special care and attention they can receive at Children's Hospital.
There are more than 450 physicians who are members of children's medical staff specializing in caring for children.
The specially trained nurses and support staffs add to the high quality of care for children.
Don't you think that your children deserve Children's Hospital?
Children's Hospital at the Washington University Medical Center, just north of Highway 40 on Kings Highway.
This is Dan Beardog. I'm big on savings bargains, and I'm saving at Bohemian Savings and Loan during their 100-year silver celebration. Big guaranteed interest rates, friendly service, and free silver gifts, too. Choose from international and Taunton silver pieces when you deposit $250 or more in a new or existing savings account.
Savings and Loan, 100 years strong.
When your Mid-America Ford dealer celebrates Ford National Truck Week, it's big. So big it takes more than 1 week to celebrate. You're going to get truck deals that are really big. Right now, get the 85 you've been looking for. There's a great selection of Bronco and Bronco 2s. Get a truck week deal on all 2- and 4-wheel drive full-size pickups. In fact, we've got great selections on 85 Ford trucks and vans in stock. There's big savings on 84s, too. Save $744 on Ford full-size F-150 special value package pickups with manual transmissions. These savings are based on manufacturer's suggested retail price per package compared to traditional suggested pricing of options purchased separately. The Package includes bright low-mount swing-away mirrors, heavy-duty battery, heavy-duty shock absorbers, and more. So get down to your Mid-America Ford dealer now during this big National Truck Week celebration. Get the truck you want and the deal you're looking for. It all ends October 6th, so see your Mid-America Ford dealer today.
This is David, the bedtime story kid. Boy, oh boy, have we put the grand opening. That's right, October is grand opening month at Bedtime Story. You'll find awesome values on all kinds of name brand bedding and furniture, including 20% off our already low everyday prices on Thomasville, Roy Hill, and Burlington. Plus, with any type of waterbed you purchase, you can receive as much as $125 worth of accessories free, including pillows, bedside heater, padded rails, sheets, cases, and a fitted mattress pad. What's more, register to win all kinds of giveaways, like tickets to the Blues, Steamers, the Fabulous Fox, the Symphony, and lots more. No purchase necessary. It's a saving celebration for you throughout October at Bedtime Story's grand opening.
Bedtime Story, where you sleep happily ever after.
Full details at Bedtime Story. Must be 18 or older to enter. Bedtime Story, Hazelwood, South County, South City, and Fairview Heights.
Singleton Palmer's doing a concert today from noon until 1 o'clock, sponsored by the Central St. Louis Business Association. Singleton Palmer and the Dixieland Six will be down at the Aloe Plaza at 20th and Market Streets, and did they luck into a perfect day? You're invited to come down, bring your lunch, whatever. They'll probably have hot dog vendors and stuff down there. Singleton Palmer and his Dixieland Six, a free outdoor concert today between noon and 1 o'clock at Aloe Plaza at 20th at Market Streets, downtown.
Hey, high flyers. Welcome to another edition of Top That Restriction. Today, 3 top airlines will compete for the ultimate low-fare consumer restriction. And without further ado, airline number 1.
Well, Phil, to get our low fare, you must make your reservations 18 months in advance, be a 27-year-old Capricorn, and love raw oysters on the half shell.
Not bad. Airline number 2. Can you top that restriction?
Yes, Phil. Discount flights on our airline can only take off during freak sunspot activity.
Wonderful. Finally, airline number 3. Can you top that restriction?
Well, no, Phil. You see, Frontier Airlines doesn't have any restrictions.
No restrictions?
Just 2 low fares, one during peak periods and one during off-peak.
No restrictions, Frontier? That means you lose.
No, not really, Phil.
Hey, where's everybody going? Hey!
Well, I guess that's all for today, folks.
Frontier's low one-way fares to Denver, $130 peak, $90 off peak.
I want to tell you about the National Fuel Saver, and I want to tell you about Spooner's father, who just took a trip in his camper, and he's had this camper, it's got 90-some thousand miles on it. They put a National Fuel Saver on it before they went. 20% gas savings, okay? They use leaded gas, by the way. It's not even supposed to do as well with leaded gas, the Fuel Saver. And they got 20%. Plus, he said that it ran so much better with 90-some thousand miles on it. He was really, really impressed with that. So what I'm saying to you is I get the results from the different people that we've asked to test the National Fuel Saver. I pass them along to you. We have over 3,000 in use right now in the St. Louis area. You install it yourself on your car. Takes about 20 minutes. It actually injects a minute amount of platinum into the fuel as it goes into your engine. Gives you savings of 10, 12, 15, 20% in gas mileage. Plus makes your car run better and cleans out all that carbon and adds, we feel, thousands and thousands of miles to the life of your car or camper or whatever. Saves the average driver about $200 a year. Sells for $49. You call the inventor, the manufacturer, direct on an 800 number. He sends you the unit for $49. If you don't like it, and I know this to be a fact, you just send it right back. He sends your money right back, including postage. It's Joel Robinson. He's been on our show several times. The number to order your National Fuel Saver, 1-800-LESS-GAS. 1-800-LESS-GAS. Call him today. I think you'll be overwhelmed by the results on your family car.
Now you can enjoy the lifestyle of choice at Lake St. Charles, this area's most distinctive retirement community, where affordable luxury is exclusively yours, with your choice of studio, 1 or 2 bedroom apartments available in each of our Kensington, Wellington, or Charleston wings. Lake St. Charles knows that you deserve a lifestyle of choice, with luxury that's now affordable, in many ways more affordable than your present home or condominium. Because at Lake St. Charles, you have the choice of 3 types of apartment homes, each in 3 styles, even a choice of meal plans in our gourmet dining room. But no matter which you choose, you will have weekly maid service, an emergency call button in your bedroom and bathroom, 24-hour security, and a wealth of other amenities. And there's never any endowment or entry fee at Lake St. Charles. So call us today at 947-1100. That's 947-1100. Or visit us at 45 Honey Locust in St. Charles, where you can find out more about the affordable luxury and lifestyle of choice at Lake St. Charles.
There I was, standing in the store, scratching my head, when this little whippersnapper comes up to me and asks if I need any help. Do I need any help? Once folks get wind of the offer from Stanley, he's the one who's going to need help. Stanley makes the best doggone garage door openers you can buy. On top of that, they're giving away a free second transmitter and a Stanley 19-piece socket set along with it. With all this, folks are going to storm in here to buy Stanley openers faster than he can put them on a shelf. Well, he pipes up and tells me it's $65 worth of free stuff. And I just think to myself, too bad I only got one garage. Nobody opens doors like Stanley.
From now until October 31st, buy a Stanley U-install Deluxe or Premier opener and get a second transmitter and a Stanley 19-piece socket set worth over $65 free at Wicks Lumber, Birdsong Company, and participating Ace and Century Hardware.
Hello, is this Chemo's?
Yes, it is.
Is this Ellen Cusimano?
Yes.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi, Jack. How are you this morning?
Fine, honey. I want to read you something came in my mail.
All right.
Okay. Dear Jack, we heard the commercial with Ellen Cusimano's voice. We are 4 guys who carpool together. We're all over 35. We're young at heart, but true blue to our brides. And we think that she has the sexiest voice in radio. So we went to Chemo's to see who was behind the voice. And you just listen to the rest of this, you vamp. To see who is behind the voice. And Ellen Cusimano must be the best kept secret in the restaurant business in St. Louis. She is the most beautiful, dark-haired lady with dimensions that would knock your toupee off.
No.
As Rex Davis says, we think you ought to know. And it's signed sincerely, 4 smitten guys.
I don't believe you.
I got it right here. Got it right here. There's no return address on it. They didn't dare.
The nerve of those guys.
Yeah, shame. What did you do to those guys, Ellen?
Well, I really don't know. They didn't identify themselves to me.
Didn't you get 4 fellas who were breathing heavily who came in together in one car?
Yes, but I thought that was your party.
Smart aleck. I don't think you're all that glamorous, but I wanted you to know that somebody does.
Well, I appreciate it.
Talk a little more, because they think you have the best voice in radio. Let's say something in radio.
Well, I'm going to say that provocative statement that you said to me the other day on the phone. I don't know. Maybe your engineers are going to beep it out. But
Say it.
One, no Trump.
You sexy devil. We took bridge lessons together. 2 clubs, Ellen.
Oh, God, I can't take it anymore, Jack.
Have a good day, honey.
All right, bye-bye.
That's Ellen Cusimano at Chemo's. 10 o'clock, KLOX, St. Louis, Missouri.